Hey guys, it's Whiskey. This morning I am doing my probably 2 episodes. Number one is what is PTSD and FND, neurological or functional neurological disorder, to me. And the other one, I'm probably going to do one specifically about flashbacks. But the first one right now is what is PTSD and conversion, or FND, to me. The clinical diagnosis is just reoccurring flashbacks or reliving the trauma and the effects that it has on your psyche and your body. It comes with chronic pain and nightmares and flashbacks and insomnia or fatigue or depression or anxiety or hypervigilance. There's a whole huge plethora of disassociation is a big one. There's a huge laundry list of things that it can cause and breakdowns that are part of it. For me, my PTSD is definitely flashbacks. I definitely get flashbacks, not as bad as they used to be, and they don't affect me like they used to. But flashbacks, and I go through insomnia. I've gone through massive panic attacks. Disassociation. I've had disassociation to the point that I've had chickens for years. And when my conversion first kicked in, I had disassociated for days. I mean, days. Like, I had chickens in the coop. I had talked to people on the phone. I had carried on with life. I had done all these things. And I didn't realize that I'd actually lost days until I cracked open an egg and realized that a hen had been sitting on it. And the development of the egg was like 3 days. So, but even when I talked to my husband about it, he's like, he drove truck. He was calling me from the road and he had no idea that it was happening. And until later on, I had no idea it was happening. It just, your brain just kind of checks out and goes elsewhere. And you go on autopilot. People don't realize that you can disassociate and still function in your life. And it's kind of, it's weird to explain. One other incident of disassociation, I had a friend of mine. I went to lunch with her and she had asked me a question about something about one of my traumas. And I was like, oh, no big deal. I'm an open book, blah, blah, blah. But then I realized we're sitting in a restaurant and I realized as I was talking to her, it was like like a vacuum just sucked me out of the room. And I felt like I was in a fishbowl. Like I could hear all the sounds in the room and I could see everything going on, but it was this really weird, like warped speed. And I knew I was kind of in trouble at that point, but a lot of us with PTSD are stubborn. And instead of stopping and telling her, this is causing me an issue, I really need to slow down on this, I just stayed in my little fishbowl. And realizing it now, I won't do that ever again. If it happens again, then I'd go ahead and, tell the person, hey, this is having an ill effect on me. I need to stop or slow down, or we need to change the subject. But nightmares, I only get nightmares now. When I start getting nightmares now, it's because my life is way out of balance and I know there's something that I need to pay attention to and change. They used to be pretty constant. They're not constant anymore, but they are indicators of stress in my life. And if I don't handle things and don't look at things when the nightmares start back up, then I know I'm heading down a road I don't want to be on. So it makes me, it's kind of like my red flag now. It's my red flag and my lantern at night that says, hey, we're going to process this at night because you're not processing this during the day. So that's what happens with my nightmares. And then flashbacks. I get them pretty often, but they don't affect me like they used to. Flashbacks can be caused by hearing a song, a certain sound, a certain smell, a movie on TV that brings you back to a different time. All these things with association to something else, and we all do it. And I have an associative memory anyway, which kind of makes flashbacks kind of a bear to deal with because my brain associates everything to everything else. There's certain bands that I just cannot listen to because it's just instant, takes me back to somewhere, and I can't get it out of my head until I turn that song off. I'll tell you what, the most memorable flashback, and it was right before I fell out from work and couldn't work anymore. I was teaching 5th grade, and I had a Tervis coffee mug, and I was coming off a lunch break or specials break or something, and I taught on the 2nd floor, so I was taking the elevator up to the 2nd floor, and right before the elevator door opened, I dropped my coffee mug in that elevator, and just that sound of that empty plastic coffee mug hitting the floor in that metal box took me right straight back to one of my events. And it was I was like, wow, that was interesting. And then the elevator doors opened and my classroom was sitting there waiting to go back into class. And 30 seconds later, I was teaching 20 kids. Like, I had no time to stop and process it. I had no time to figure out in that moment why that sound gave me the flashback that it did. Sorry. And to this day, I mean, it was a matter of probably maybe weeks between that flashback and me not working anymore, me completely falling out. What was another one? Hypervigilance. A lot of people that have PTSD have hypervigilance that they can't unsee things. They can't not pay attention to details and just the most minute things that other people would never notice. When I was teaching, they used to crack up. They thought it was funny. They didn't understand what was going on. God love them, because I didn't disclose everything to everybody, right? If there was one school door that wasn't latched shut, or if there was one thing like out of place anywhere, and I mean by centimeters, I would notice it. And the school system loved it because I was always like the nitpicker, and it just looked like complete OCD, right? But it was genuinely just that sense of wanting security and wanting safety everywhere I went. I couldn't turn it off. I saw everything that was out of place everywhere. And that gets exhausting after a while, especially when you're trying to protect you're mentally trying to protect yourself and physically protecting everybody around you. So that was interesting. There are many other parts of PTSD, and as things go on and I interview other people and we talk about other people's journeys, you'll get a bigger picture. This is just me. I can't speak for everybody else. The conversion side of that is my conversion. I will get full on tremors. It looks like a Parkinson's tremor. I could get arm tremors. I would get leg tremors depending on what's going on. If the leg tremors are bad enough, I'd get foot drop, and I would literally look at my feet and could not pick my foot up off the ground. Like it's glued to the floor. I can't pick it up. It's the weirdest feeling in the world when your foot is disconnected from your head. Like you're looking at your foot and just willing it to pick up off the floor, and it won't. The tremors have gotten really bad. I actually have one time for sure, I had a muscle atrophy so bad that my fingers curled up like a palsy, and I couldn't move. I couldn't pick anything up. I couldn't use my hands. I couldn't use my arms. That one was interesting, and I just had to sit there and wait for it to pass. I learned that the more I stress about it and the more I try to change what's going on, the worse it gets. If I just calm down and relax and take my brain somewhere else, it will calm down and it will stop on its own. Which was really interesting with all the different physical therapies and stuff I've been in, because it's actually in my medical records that instead of physical therapists looking at my entire record and treating me as somebody who had all these other issues going on, because it was definitely in my records, they've actually put in my medical records that I was faking it. That because the types of tremors that come with conversion are different than other tremors. And if you know what you're looking for, you understand the difference. But they didn't understand what they were seeing. So the stress of the injuries that I was recovering from, there was that in there because I had nerve damage in my spine. So there was actually a neurological disconnect. but the stress of trying to work through it was triggering my conversion. So the other tremors were showing up too. And they did not do their due diligence to pay attention to what was in my records, number one, nor did they ask me. You know, I don't understand why people in the medical field want to sneak around the patient and not ask the patient questions, because it would have saved everybody a whole lot of hassle, because now that stuff's in my permanent record. Whatever. I also it's funny. A few of the videos after the PTSD video I did, the original one, a few of them I've screwed up words and I've really like kind of blanked out a few times, and you can physically see it in my videos if you go back, where I will mix up words like closet and closest. It'll mess with my speech patterns. I can slur. Sometimes I'll have a stutter. Sometimes my brain will just go completely blank and I forget things. I remember right before I fell out from work, I had one of my principals was in the classroom. Hello. She was doing an observation for my, my merits or whatever you want to call it in education. And for the life of me, I read a book, which I love. It's called Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus. And the entire lesson, I called it a penguin. I could not get the word penguin out of my head. So the entire book, the penguin was driving the bus, not the pigeon. And it does that a lot. If the first sound and the last sound and the syllable count is the same, I will cross up words. And it doesn't happen as much as it used to, but it's happening a little bit now because I'm pushing myself to do these videos. So I'm inducing my own stress, but it's okay because I understand that this isn't about me. I'm doing this for other people. This isn't about me. So as long as I keep that in focus, I'm okay with all of this. But there are so many things that people just don't understand with PTSD and conversion, and there's so many facets of it. And like if I walk down the street or if I'm a friend with you and you don't know any of this stuff, you probably never even know I have it until something happens. And then you're like, whoo, where did that come out of left field? So, and that's actually, it's almost to our own detriment sometimes, because we don't run around telling everybody we have PTSD. But then at the same time, those that are closest to us really do need to know, because there are other, we don't have an escape route. We don't have an escape hatch if something does happen, because we haven't told those that are closest and dearest to us now, because a lot of the friends I had 10 years ago, I don't have now. So as I'm improving and getting better, I'm not necessarily telling my new friends what's going on. And if something did happen, I'm just catching all of them out of left field, or they don't know, hey, these are the signs we might want to, this is the signs going to look for. Or if I call you with a code name or something happens, just be aware. I realized when I'm doing all these trainings and I'm interviewing people and stuff like that on the backside of this, I'm really good with eye contact, and I'm really good at focusing on people and what's going on. And a couple times this last week, I realized I can just feel my brain just kind of suck out of the computer screen, and I start looking away and spacing off. And it's when I'm talking about myself and the issues that are going on, or the issues that I'm dealing with to do this stuff. And it dawned on me that because I wasn't facing some of the stuff this week in the right mindset, or not wrong mindset, but in a better mindset, I had actually started disassociating this week while dealing with this stuff and creating this stuff. So I'm actually having to be much more mindful about, it's not about me, it's about other people, and I need to learn and teach and process in the process to get things done. So if you're watching this and you have PTSD, or you know somebody who has PTSD, write in the comments, or if you would write in the comments or write on the Facebook page, or even email me if you want at palmtreeelegy@gmail.com, and let me know how it affects you, and let me know if there's something that you'd want me to address about this, to advocate for you and to share it with other people. And I love you, and we will talk to you later, and bye.